dive into today's episode, I just want to remind you to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to us. It helps us grow, reach more amazing learners like you, and keep bringing you fresh and fun content every week. So don't forget, like, subscribe, and let's keep this journey going strong. Hello, brilliant idiom explorers, and a very warm welcome back to another insightful episode of Idiom Insights. I'm Emma, your enthusiastic guide, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you again, ready to delve into the fascinating nuances of some more common English phrases. It's always a pleasure to share this learning journey with you as we navigate the colorful world of English.
And I'm Jack, your co-host and ever-curious word detective, here to help unravel the meanings and perhaps share a chuckle or two as we explore the rich landscape of idiomatic English. It's wonderful to be back in the Idiom Insights studio, Emma, and a big hello to all our fantastic listeners around the world. Thanks for tuning in for another dose of idiom discovery.
It's always a joy, Jack. Today, we've selected 4 incredibly useful and vivid idioms that you'll undoubtedly encounter in everyday English. Understanding these will not only significantly boost your comprehension, but also provide you with more natural and expressive ways to communicate your own thoughts and observations. These phrases cover patient effort, the limit of tolerance, making a fresh start, and the hidden scale of problems.
A truly excellent and varied mix today, Emma. These are idioms that really add character and depth to conversation. Here are the 4 idioms we'll be diving into in this episode of Idiom Insights. First, a proverb about the value of patient, consistent effort. Slow and steady wins the race. Second, a phrase for that final unbearable annoyance in a series of problems. That's the last straw. Third, an expression for making a positive change in your life or behavior. Turn over a new leaf. And finally, an idiom for a small, visible problem that hints at a much larger, hidden issue. The tip of the iceberg.
Those are all fantastic and very common idioms, Jack. Each one paints a very clear picture and is used frequently, so understanding them will be incredibly beneficial for our listeners as they engage in English conversations and encounter these phrases in media.
I couldn't agree more. They're all very practical and insightful. And before we delve into the intricacies of our first idiom, a quick and sincere request from both of us here at Idiom Insights. If you're finding these episodes valuable for your English learning journey, and you enjoy our explorations, please take a moment to subscribe or follow our podcast on your preferred listening platform.
Yes, subscribing is the best way to ensure you don't miss any of our future idiom adventures and linguistic discoveries. And if you're feeling extra supportive, a like or a positive rating on your podcast platform truly helps other English learners discover idiom insights. We are so grateful for your engagement and continued support. It really fuels our passion for this.
It genuinely makes a massive difference. Thank you all for being part of our community. Right then, Emma, are you ready for our first idiom, which is a classic piece of wisdom?
Let's do it. Our first idiom for this episode of Idiom Insights is slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady wins the race. This immediately makes me think of the famous fable of the tortoise and the hare. Is that the idea behind this proverb, Emma?
That's exactly where the proverb's wisdom is best illustrated, Jack. Slow and steady wins the race is a proverb that means that consistent, persistent, and careful effort over time is more effective and more likely to lead to success than a quick burst of speed or talent that is not sustained. It emphasizes the value of perseverance over hasty, intermittent effort.
So it's not necessarily about being literally slow, but about being steady and consistent. The hare in the story was much faster, but he was inconsistent. He took a nap. The tortoise, while slow, was steady and kept moving forward without stopping. And that's why he won.
Precisely. It's a lesson about the importance of diligence and perseverance. It's often used to encourage someone who is feeling discouraged by their slow progress, reminding them that consistency is the key to achieving long-term goals. It applies to learning a new skill, saving money, getting fit, or building a business.
It's a very comforting thought, isn't it? It suggests you don't have to be the fastest or the most brilliant person to succeed. You just have to be the most persistent. It's about not giving up and not getting distracted, but just continuing to put in the effort day after day. It's the opposite of trying to find a quick magical shortcut.
Yes, it's a celebration of diligence. It's a reminder that great things are often built gradually, through small, consistent steps. Rushing can lead to burnout or mistakes, but a slow and steady pace is sustainable and ultimately more effective for achieving big goals.
Okay, so slow and steady wins the race is a proverb emphasizing that consistent, patient effort is more effective for achieving success than short bursts of speed. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this encouraging idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what long-term goal one of them might be feeling discouraged about.
Oh, Mark, I'm feeling so disheartened with my goal of learning to run a 5K. I've been training for a few weeks now, but I still feel so slow. I see other runners in the park who are so much faster, and they make it look so easy. I feel like I'm not making any real progress.
Hey Mia, learning to run takes time, and building endurance doesn't happen overnight. Are you following a consistent training plan? Are you managing to run a little bit further or for a little bit longer each week?
Well, yes, I am. I'm sticking to my training schedule, running 3 times a week, and I can definitely run for longer without stopping than when I first started. But my speed just isn't improving much, and it feels like a long, slow slog.
But that's exactly how it's supposed to work. The most important thing is that you're being consistent and building your foundation. Don't worry about the fast runners. They were probably beginners once too. Just keep sticking to your plan. You know what they say? Slow and steady wins the race. Your consistency is what will get you to that 5K finish line, not trying to sprint and burning yourself out.
You think so? You think my slow but consistent effort is enough?
Absolutely. It's much better than running too fast, getting injured, and having to stop completely. Your steady progress is what will lead to success. You'll get there. Mia, I have been trying to get our home printer to work for over an hour now. It's been acting up all week. On Monday, it wouldn't connect.
That was a perfect example. Mark used the proverb, slow and steady wins the race, to encourage Mia, who was feeling disheartened about her slow progress in running, by emphasizing that her consistent and patient effort was the right path to achieving her long-term goal.
Exactly. The idiom served as a motivational reminder that perseverance and steady work are more important than initial speed, and that her consistent training would ultimately lead to success.
It's a very common and very wise piece of advice.
It is. So, next time you are working towards a long-term goal and feeling discouraged by slow progress, remember the proverb, slow and steady wins the race.
And we'd love to hear what race you are running slow and steady. What long-term goal are you working towards with consistent effort? Share your journeys in the comments section below this episode.
Great idea, Jack. Let's move on now to our second idiom in this episode of Idiom Insights. This one is about reaching the absolute limit.
Our second idiom today is, that's the last straw. It is, Emma, and it's good to look at this more exclamatory usage. The idiom comes from the longer proverb, the straw that broke the camel's back. When someone exclaims, that's the last straw.
That's the last straw. Now, this is a phrase our longtime listeners might find familiar, as we've discussed the last straw before. This version, that's the last straw, is often used as a direct exclamation, isn't it, Jack?
They are declaring that a final, often small, annoyance or problem, coming on top of a series of previous difficulties, has made a situation completely unbearable and has exhausted their patience. It is the final trigger that will now cause them to take action or react strongly.
So it's a declaration that one's limit has been reached. After tolerating a series of problems, this final one is the one that pushes you over the edge. For instance, if you've been having a terrible day, your car didn't start, you were late for work, your boss was angry, and then you get home to find the internet isn't working, you might throw your hands up and say, that's the last straw, I'm done with today.
Precisely. It's the breaking point. The phrase signals a shift from passive endurance to an active reaction. The reaction might be anger, quitting, making a formal complaint, or simply giving up. The point is that the tolerance has ended with this final small incident.
It's important to remember that it's not about the final incident itself being huge, but about its place at the end of a long line of other annoyances. The power of the phrase comes from that accumulated frustration.
Yes, it's the culmination of everything that came before. It's a declaration that I can't take any more.
So, if an employee has been putting up with increased workload and lack of support for months, and then their request for a much-needed day off is denied for a trivial reason, they might say to themselves, that's the last straw, and start looking for a new job.
Exactly. The final, unbearable event.
So, "that's the last straw" is an exclamation used when a final problem or annoyance in a series makes a situation intolerable and causes one's patience to finally run out. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what will be the final, patience-breaking incident in their story.
To the Wi-Fi. On Tuesday, it kept jamming the paper. Yesterday, the ink cartridges were showing as empty even though I just replaced them.
Oh, Mark, that sounds incredibly frustrating. Printers can be so temperamental. Have you managed to fix the problem from yesterday with the ink cartridges?
Yes, after about 30 minutes of turning it on and off again, it finally recognized the new cartridges. So, this morning, I thought I was finally ready to print the important documents I need for my meeting. I loaded the paper, sent the document to print.
And what happened? Did it print okay? Or did another problem pop up?
It started printing, but then it just stopped halfway through a page and a new error message appeared saying, "Unknown error, code 5B. I have no idea what that even means. I just stared at it. After all the problems this week on that error message, that's the last straw. I'm done with this printer. I'm going out this afternoon to buy a new one. I can't waste any more time on it.
I don't blame you at all, Mark. After everything else that has gone wrong with it, that final cryptic error message would be the last straw for me too. Get a new one and put this one out of its misery.
That dialogue perfectly illustrates the idiom as an exclamation. Mark, after enduring a series of frustrating problems with his printer all week, declared, "That's the last straw," when a final, inexplicable error occurred, marking the point at which his patience was completely exhausted and prompting his decision to buy a new printer.
Exactly. The idiom was used as a declaration of his breaking point, the final event in a sequence of annoyances that made the situation no longer tolerable and triggered a decisive action.
It's a very common and powerful way to express that you've reached your limit.
It is. So next time a final small problem makes a difficult situation completely unbearable for you, you might find yourself exclaiming, "That's the last straw."
And we'd love to hear about a last straw moment you've had recently. What was the final, patience-breaking incident? Share your stories in the comments below this episode.
Wonderful idea, Jack. Let's move on now to our third idiom in this episode of Idiom Insights. This one is about making a fresh start.
Our third idiom for today is turn over a new leaf.
Turn over a new leaf. This sounds like turning a page in a book to a fresh, clean one. Is that the idea behind this idiom, Jack?
You've got it perfectly, Emma. To turn over a new leaf means to start behaving in a better, more responsible, or more positive way. To make a fresh start and change your life for the better, leaving past bad habits or negative behaviors behind. The leaf in this case refers to the page of a book. So you are metaphorically turning to a new, clean page in the book of your life.
So it's about a conscious decision to reform and improve oneself. If someone who has been very unhealthy, smoking, eating junk food, not exercising, decides to quit all their bad habits and start a healthy lifestyle, they are turning over a new leaf.
Precisely. Or if a student who has been lazy and not doing their schoolwork decides to start studying hard, attending all their classes, and aiming for good grades, they have decided to turn over a new leaf. It implies a significant and positive change in behavior or attitude.
It's a very hopeful and optimistic idiom, isn't it? It suggests that people can change for the better and leave their past mistakes behind them. It's often associated with new beginnings, like the new year, when people make resolutions.
Yes, it's a very common phrase to hear around New Year's, but it can be used at any time when someone makes a genuine commitment to self-improvement. It's not just a small change, but a more fundamental shift in one's way of behaving or living.
So, if someone who is known for being very pessimistic and negative makes a real effort to be more positive and cheerful, they are turning over a new leaf.
Exactly. They are starting a new chapter of their life with better behavior.
So, to turn over a new leaf means to start behaving in a better, more responsible, or more positive way, making a fresh start. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder who might be making a positive change in their life in their conversation.
Mark, you know my brother, Tom? For the last few years, he's been quite irresponsible with his finances. He was always spending more than he earned, getting into debt, and never seemed to have a plan for the future. It was a real worry for my parents.
Oh yes, I remember you mentioning that you were concerned about him. Has anything changed? Or is he still struggling with his spending?
Well, I had a long chat with him on his birthday a couple of months ago, and it seems like something finally clicked for him. He told me he was tired of being constantly stressed about money and decided he needed to make a major change.
That's a big step to realize that. So what has he done? Has he actually changed his habits?
He really has. He cut up his credit cards. He created a detailed budget, which he's actually sticking to. He started cooking at home instead of eating out all the time. And he's even set up an automatic savings plan. It's like he's a different person when it comes to money. It seems he has truly decided to turn over a new leaf. I'm so proud of him.
Wow, Mia, that's fantastic. To go from being irresponsible to being so disciplined and proactive is a huge change. It sounds like he really has turned over a new leaf. That must be a huge relief for you and your parents.
That dialogue beautifully illustrates the idiom. Mia described how her brother Tom made a significant and positive change in his financial behavior, moving from irresponsibility to discipline, and concluded that he had truly turned over a new leaf.
Exactly. The idiom captured the fundamental and positive transformation in his lifestyle and attitude towards money. It highlighted his conscious decision to reform his past bad habits.
It's a very common and hopeful idiom for describing such a positive life change.
It is. So, next time you see someone making a genuine fresh start and changing their behavior for the better, you can say they are turning over a new leaf.
And we'd love to hear if you've ever turned over a new leaf. What was the change you made? Share your inspiring stories in the comments below this episode.
Wonderful idea, Jack! Now, we've arrived at our fourth and final idiom for this episode of Idiom Insights. This one describes seeing only a small part of a larger problem.
Our final idiom for today is the tip of the iceberg.
The tip of the iceberg. This immediately brings to mind that famous image of an iceberg, where the small part you see above the water is tiny compared to the enormous mass of ice hidden beneath the surface. What does this idiom mean, Jack?
That image is exactly the key to understanding this idiom, Emma. When we say something is the tip of the iceberg, we mean that it is only a small, visible, and often trivial part of a much larger, more complex, and often hidden problem or situation. It suggests that what is currently known or seen is just a hint of a much greater issue that lies beneath the surface.
So it's a warning that what seems like a small problem might actually be a symptom of a much deeper, more serious issue. If a company discovers that one employee has been making a few small errors in their accounts, but upon investigation, they find that this is part of a massive, company-wide accounting fraud, then the initial small errors were just the tip of the iceberg.
Precisely! Or if you find a little bit of mold on a wall in your house, you might worry that it's just the tip of the iceberg, and that there could be a much larger, hidden mold problem inside the walls. It implies that there is a lot more to the situation than is immediately apparent.
It often carries a sense of foreboding or a warning not to underestimate a situation. It suggests that further investigation is needed to understand the true scale of the problem.
Yes, it's a very common way to express that a problem is much bigger than it first appears. The visible part is just a small clue to the massive, unseen reality.
So, if the police catch one minor criminal, but through questioning him they uncover a huge international criminal network, that one criminal was just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly, a small sign of a much larger operation.
So, the tip of the iceberg is a small, visible part of a much larger, hidden problem or situation. Ready to hear Mia and Mark use this idiom?
Let's listen in. I wonder what seemingly small issue might be hinting at a much bigger problem in their conversation.
Mark, I was helping out in the customer service department this morning, and I noticed we got a couple of complaints via email about the new software update causing a minor glitch with the login screen.
A couple of complaints about a minor login glitch? That doesn't sound too serious, Mia. Small bugs are pretty common after a new update, right? The IT team can probably fix that easily.
That's what I thought at first, but I was curious. So I did a quick search on some online forums and social media to see if anyone else was talking about it. And Mark, it's not just a couple of people.
Oh? What did you find? Is it a more widespread issue than we thought?
It seems so. I found hundreds of posts from our users all over the world, all reporting the same login glitch. But some are also reporting much more serious problems, that the update is causing their entire system to crash, deleting files, and making the software unusable. The two complaints we received directly are just the tip of the iceberg. There seems to be a massive underlying problem with this update that is affecting a huge number of users in very serious ways.
Wow! So what we thought was a minor glitch is actually a sign of a huge catastrophic failure? That's not just a small bug, that's a major crisis. We need to alert the IT director immediately. That is much, much bigger than we realized.
That dialogue perfectly illustrates the idiom. Mia discovered that the two minor complaints the company had received were just the tip of the iceberg, a small, visible sign of a much larger and more serious problem with the software update that was affecting many more users in more severe ways.
Exactly. The idiom captured the realization that the initial, seemingly small problem was just a hint of a far greater hidden crisis. It highlighted the true, massive scale of the issue.
It's a very common and effective idiom for describing a problem that is much bigger than it first appears.
It is. So next time you suspect that a small, visible problem is just a sign of a much larger issue, remember the idiom, it might be just the tip of the iceberg.
And we'd love to hear if you've ever discovered that a small issue was just the tip of the iceberg. What was the hidden problem? Share your stories in the comments below this episode.
We always appreciate reading your comments and insights. Well, Jack, we've explored 4 more really insightful and useful idioms in this episode of Idiom Insights.
We certainly have, Emma. Just to recap for everyone tuning into Idiom Insights today, we learned
Slow and steady wins the race. A proverb meaning that consistent, patient effort leads to success.
that's the last straw. An exclamation used when a final annoyance makes a situation unbearable.
Turn over a new leaf, meaning to make a fresh start and change your behavior for the better.
And the tip of the iceberg, referring to a small, visible part of a much larger hidden problem or situation.
4 more fantastic additions to your English idiom repertoire. Remember, the best way to make these phrases a natural part of your vocabulary is to actively listen for them in real-life conversations and media, and then to build your confidence by trying to use them yourself in appropriate contexts.
Absolutely. Don't be afraid to experiment. The more you use them, the more comfortable and fluent your English will become, and the more you'll be able to express nuanced meanings with flair.
And if you enjoyed learning with us today, and we sincerely hope you did, please consider giving this episode of Idiom Insights a like and leaving us a positive review on your podcast platform. Your support helps us reach more learners and continue creating this content.
And make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button for Idiom Insights so you don't miss any of our future episodes, where we'll continue to unravel the wonderful and sometimes witty world of English idioms.
Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure exploring these phrases with you.
Keep learning, keep listening, and we'll talk to you again next time on Idiom Insights.
Goodbye, everyone.
See ya!